against Mobius Y here. For those of you, which is probably all two of you, that have been wondering what I've been doing lately with the lack of World of Tanks content, I found this little gem, and it's called Project Spark on the Xbox One, and I've been dicking around with it for the last week and a half or so. So this is what I uploaded to the community, basically just editing some settings on various weapons and whatnot in the game to give them different functioning characteristics in the game. So I'm basically just showcasing what's possible for making a first-person shooter in Project Spark. So as you can see right here, there's a pistol, a sniper rifle off to the right, and a rifle, quote-unquote. They all look like a pistol, because there's really no other prop that you can use in the game without creating one yourself. So I just used ones in the game. So here the pistol, you can see it shoots pretty slow. Big red fireball kind of thing. The rifle, quite a bit more inaccurate, but it shoots more quickly. You know, more balanced all around, just moderate rate of fire, moderate accuracy, and damage-wise, it's also moderately damaging. So these goblins over here, I can hit them with the pistol from this range because the pistol's really accurate, and does enough damage where I only have to hit them twice. I set the goblins in this game to only have 40 hit points, and the damage values on all the weapons scale accordingly. So the pistol does 20, I believe. The rifle does 15 to make it 3 shots, like so. Blat, blat, blat. That goblin's gone. 3 more shots, that goblin's gone. So the rifle does 15 damage, so it takes 3 shots. The machine gun does 10 damage, so it takes 4 hits. The sniper rifle does 40 damage, so it kills a goblin in 1 shot. And the grenade launcher explosion does 30 points of damage. So if this were actually coded into a legitimate game here, you could weaken some enemies with a grenade launcher blast and then whip out a pistol or something and finish them all off nice and quickly. Or however you see fit. As you can see, the models there, they're all the same prop. But I just colored them differently. This machine gun's purple and gold, the sniper rifle's black, the pistol's red, the rifle's green and yellow, and the grenade launcher over here is blue, and it's the only different prop that I used. This is the in-game Codian blaster prop that I used. So I have it set so that their names pop up when the player's really close to them so that they know what they're grabbing, if they didn't read the description explaining what the colors were. So this is basically what I've been doing. This was the first world I uploaded to the Project Spark community. It's going to be the only one for a while, as I am an ambitious fellow, and the current project that I'm working on in Project Spark is really big. So I downloaded Project Spark a long time ago, never really got into it. Now the enemies do approach and try to attack me here. So there is the potential there, hence the health bar on the top left, but that's okay. I'm going to go back to the beacon. Like I said, I downloaded Project Spark quite a while ago. I just never really tried it or anything like that. I noticed it was free. I thought it was like a free offer at the time, but it's a freemium game where you can support the game by spending some money, and it gives you the second form of currency, a bunch of tokens. Essentially is what it does. How it works in this game is the 2 forms of currency are credits and tokens. And now here's the sniper rifle here. As you can see, really, really accurate. Collision's a problem in this game because it says I hit the ground, but whatever. I hit the ground again there. I didn't know that guy was there. So the sniper rifle, really accurate and good because of the projectile velocity. It's really good range, like you would expect in a sniper rifle. And like I said, 1 hit knocks out the goblins. It only does 40 damage, but that's just how I did it. This is literally just a test and a showcase to other people who can access the code. You know, what values you would have to change in the programming to alter the appearances and the functioning characteristics of weapons so that if you were to make a shooter game, you could essentially have multiple weapons in your game, each with different attributes. So here I've got the machine gun now. Like I said, shoots fast, but it's really inaccurate. The rounds are going all over the place, as you can see, and I don't think this isn't even really the rate of fire that I was going for. The rifle shoots nice and tight. It's pretty much within that crosshair on the screen for the most part. But that machine gun, it goes all over the place. Just absolutely bad. And there we go. That's the actual rate of fire on the machine gun that I was intending for. It really shreds these little goblins up close. Especially since it takes 4 hits to kill them, but, you know, that's kind of what I was going for. Like I said, this was a test. It's just a showcase for other developers to really take a look at what they can do for simple programming methods to create different weapons characteristics in their shooter game. So like I said, I opened up the game. There's 2 levels of currency. There's credits, which you earn normally and fairly slowly, and tokens you can earn as rewards to playing the daily and or weekly board game thingamajigger, or you pay for them. So I was really intrigued by this, so I figured, you know what, I'll support the community. I sunk $10 into it, bought a couple bonus packs, and I was able to dick around with Project Spark and make this kind of little test game here. Unfortunately, those without other people without the in-game currency DLC will be unable to access the code for this game, as they don't have the props or the textures available. I used the Starry Night background as well as the asteroid texture and a couple of the space props. The main character is an Astrotech female or some crap, if I remember right. Plus you got the blaster guns. Those are from one of the space packs. I don't really know. It's a little silly, but if you do, you can acquire everything in this game without spending a dime, and it allowing you to create and edit all sorts of games that other people have created, which is super cool. And that's why I sunk $10 into it and offered my support, just a teeny tiny bit. But I'm not gonna sink ridiculous amounts of money into this like I did with World of Tanks. That was just dumb, now that I think about it. And I don't think I'll spend gold anymore on World of Tanks. So you can see there different characteristics of the machine gun. At range I was having difficulty hitting stuff because it's so inaccurate, but up close it was really shredding the bad guys. So I'm just going to head back to where the weapons are with that beacon I made. Now this beacon is essentially the yellow blinking light that's invisible. I have it to where it shoots those red objects into the sky when the player is far enough away. So this is the grenade launcher. This one was a bitch. I actually spent about 6 or 7 hours just coding this. So when it shoots a separate object that I created with its own programming functions. After about half a second, it creates that funny spark-like effect. And after about 4 seconds, it just explodes in and on its own. If it impacts an enemy, it explodes prematurely and only damages that enemy, even though I coded the line almost identically to the fuse timer. If the grenade explodes in 4 seconds, it actually damages enemies within a certain radius, and all those enemies will get damaged. But if I direct impact it, like here, you can't quite tell, but I was only damaging the one enemy. So it's not polished at all, but it's working. Now, something I really goofed up on was the physics for this grenade. It's just rolling all over the place. As you can see, I set the friction value really low, which was probably the dumb thing and that I did there. That makes these grenades just flit around at crazy speeds and whatnot. On the plus side, the bounciness, it was exactly where I wanted it, and I was able to get them shooting out at what I would consider a respectable velocity. And there the timer ran out and knocked out several of the goblins here, so you can see what I'm talking about. If I direct impact, though, it only damages the one goblin, which is really annoying. So, like I said, it's also not polished because the grenade I had to set it to a team, and having it set to a team, the goblins with the basic enemy programming that comes pre-built in the game, they consider the grenade an enemy, so they are programmed to walk towards the closest enemy they can until they're within a certain range, and then they attack it. So that's why they're chasing after these grenades. It's really funny to watch, but this grenade launcher ideal of mine, if I'm bored, it'll be a work in progress, so I'll work on it. But the basic functional qualities are essentially working. It shoots out a little bouncy ball that is visible at almost all times with that spark effect that it's constantly creating. And it actually does have a small exploding sound effect that it makes whenever it actually goes off. So it's really neat what you can do with this game. This game creating game, essentially. This is just taking a look at possible first-person shooter kind of qualities, really. I'm going to round up all these goblins and mow them down with the machine gun with the funny little rate of fire thing that's been going on here. Just got to get it going at the speed I need. Right here. There we go. This is what I wanted out of my machine gun. Just mows them down. There we go. And we just mow them all down like so. That's how a machine gun, quote-unquote, should function. It's weak, it's inaccurate, but it shoots so fast that you just mow down bad guys when they're close in. I'm having trouble hitting these guys from that distance. So, you can see what I'm talking about there. I don't know how or why it does it, where this rate of fire, which is the rate of fire that I intended it to fire at, it only seems to kick in after I do a funny little jump, hop, skip, and whatchamacallit, while holding the trigger down just before I land or something. I don't know. It's a pain in the ass. So, as you can see, the outhouse, you can interact with the outhouse. That'll end the game. I'm going to actually open this up and take a look at what actually makes the magic happen with Project Spark here. So to start off, I've got this blinking light. I set the properties to where it's a yellow light and it pulses slowly. So that's just within visual properties. So here, if the distance to the player is greater than or equal to 275, text appears above it where it says weapons, and then it shoots that funny little red effect, the berserk loop, at a certain speed, which lasts 5 seconds, upwards into the sky, so that players can find where they need to go in order to find more of these guns. So all these guns are programmed the same. When not equipped and not attached, if you interact with it, they get automatically equipped to whoever or whatever interacts with them. This could even be an NPC if NPCs were set to interact with them. And when distance to player less than or equal to 3 displays the name. That one said the grenade launcher. This one says rifle. And it also has to be not equipped. I actually had that initially set, and when I first tested it, the gun that I was holding had the little text box appear saying, "Hey, I'm your pistol," and it blocked half the screen. So it's a different take on things. Good break from World of Tanks. Here's the grenade that I did. So right as soon as it spawns, it sets its team to 1, and it makes Team 2 the enemy team, and all the goblins are set to Team 2. So after half a second, it creates the little strike impact sparky thingy. Whenever it bumps into an enemy, it plays the explosion sound and explodes. I don't know why I have this blank line here. So here you can see create strike impact at position me. That creates a little spark effect as it rolls around. Does that after half a second. If it bumps an enemy, it plays the explosion sound, creates the fire explosion at position me, so it looks like the ball blew up. And this happens the moment it bumps any enemy, so anything on Team 2. So if it should be if the distance to an enemy is less than or equal to 4 from me, then it should deal 30 damage to objects closer than a distance of 4, and then it destroys itself. So if it doesn't bump in anything, a countdown timer, 3.99 seconds, it plays the explosion sound in order for it to actually work. I found that if I did it at the same time as the rest of this stuff where it destroys itself, it didn't actually work. So after 4 seconds, again, create fire explosion at position me. Any enemies within a distance of 4 take 30 damage, and then it destroys itself. So that 0.01 seconds of leeway between creating the sound and destroying itself and doing all that other crap, it actually makes the sound work 99% of the time, as opposed to before where it never did. So the real magic of how I am able to shoot out these different projectiles with different values is right here. So right off the bat, crosshair displayed in the middle, health in the left, first person camera, if the health reaches 0, the game ends, usual stuff, blah blah blah. This is just a health regen function that I put in so that if people were getting hit by goblins, they wouldn't just, slowly lose their health and be incapable of regenerating it. Also a sound plays when it gets hit. So here, when right trigger or the mouse button is held, if machine gun is equipped, it does this. If pistol is equipped, it does that. If grenade launcher is equipped, it does something else. So that's basically defining. The first line there says when the right trigger is held, and then all the lines after that, it determines which weapon I have equipped to determine what projectile it's shooting. Now these functions were required in order to simply be able to equip various weapons and whatnot, which is really handy. So back to shooting the different projectiles. So if the machine gun is equipped, it shoots a Codian blaster projectile at speed 50, decent velocity, launch frequency 20, and the cone angle was 5 there. So you can see that's the projectile type, is the blue projectile, velocity of 50, which is okay, launch frequency 20, which is really fast, as we saw, lifetime of 3 seconds, all the projectiles have that. But the accuracy, it shoots forward in this cone in the direction of the camera forward at an angle of 5. And then this angle value basically determines the accuracy of the weapon. That's why the machine gun is so inaccurate compared to the other ones, basically. With a damage of 10. Like I said, the goblins, I set them to 40 HP, so a damage of 10 will require 4 hits. Now, the second line is a check for if the pistol is equipped, and it shoots the red effect, like I said, the burning aura effect at a speed of 20, so very slow velocity out of the other ones. Launch frequency of 1.5, slow rate of fire, 3 seconds, and the camera forward angle of 0.25, so not as accurate as the sniper rifle, but pretty close, and of course with damage of 20, so 2 shots to knock out one of those goblins. And this is essentially how it all works out. Here, so the rifle, we've got the Astro Blaster projectile. That's what it shoots at a projectile velocity of 40. Rate of fire of 4, so 4 shots in a second. That's what gives it the better fire rate over the pistol, but slower than the machine gun. Lifetime of 3 seconds for each projectile as well. The accuracy is 1.5, camera forward angle 1.5, so decent accuracy, like I showcased there. Way better than the machine gun. Damage of 15. And it's essentially changing all these little number values is what determines how the gun functions. So here's a sniper rifle, shoots a projectile at a velocity of 1,000. I don't know if that actually did anything. With a rate of fire of 0.8, so about half that of the pistol. But it is perfectly accurate. Shoots straight every shot because of the camera forward angle value being 0, 40 damage, so it would essentially kill a goblin. Of course, all these values are interchangeable depending on the values of enemies that somebody else would have in the game. So here's the grenade launcher, and it shoots an assembled grenade with gravity that bounces on impact at a speed of 20. I had to set that value pretty high so that actually came out. Now the launch frequency is 0.65, that's why it shoots really slow. And I gave basically the accuracy value a number of 2, so it technically wouldn't be that accurate, more inaccurate than the rifle, but because it shoots a glob, I mean, it doesn't really matter. And if the ball actually hits somebody, it does 0.25 damage, so basically a quarter of a point. So it essentially doesn't do anything. It leaves it straight up to the explosion to do something. Had I coded the grenade differently, where it bounced around almost indefinitely, then, you know, it could probably bounce around and just do super small amounts of damage to everybody. And it was supposed to be that last line there was supposed to play a sound if you weren't holding any guns. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out as I expected. I'm not sure why. This isn't, like I said, this isn't polished. This is basically just a brief test and a showcase of how you can quickly program different weapon types, essentially, in a first-person shooter game. And it was actually quite simple. I essentially just took the basic values that were set in the pre-made first-person shooter brain that basically comes with the game. And I just changed some values, changed what the projectiles looked like, and added a couple values such as damage and the conical spread from the camera, so on and so forth. And that's how I was able to get all these different weapons, essentially. So I can change some of these values here. So let's change the sniper rifle to shoot 3 times faster, almost. Give it a... And the grenade launcher... Change the launch frequency of the grenade launcher as well. Let's not do 1,000. That'll break the damn game. Let's put it up to 30. So faster than the machine gun would, technically. And then let's change the machine gun value. Let's make the machine gun super accurate. So we'll give it an accuracy value. What am I looking for here? 0.25. 0.15, even better. 0.25 is the accuracy of the pistol right now. So pretty accurate. So just changing those values change the dynamics of how the weapon functions now. Just jump right back into the test mode here. So let's pick up the sniper rifle. As you can see, it shoots a heck of a lot faster now, but it's still perfectly accurate, and one hit kills a goblin. That's essentially how the programming works in this game. It's actually quite an easy, simple language. The grenade launcher shoots stupid quickly. There's all these little sparklies flying around now. This is how you break the game quickly. Pew 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 pew. They're like my little sparky worms of death. And I'm going to try and round up a bunch of goblins here with my rapid fire grenade launcher. Bring them over to the big cluster that's on the other side of this ridge. Jump over these guys. Oh, I just got whacked. Oh, at least I know the on-hit sound is working. I guess the volume was high enough. Is this enough, guys? I think so. I just got to bring them back. Drag them over this way a little bit. Better area for the grenades to bounce around and explode after the timer. Oh, here we go. See, the game's starting to slow down now because there's so much crap going on. This is how you break Project Spark. You have a lot of crap going on at the same time. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Boom. I don't even know what's happening anymore. There's just a very deafening tinkle noise. I'm going to have to go back to the test mode there and change the characteristics of that. Or just restart this. So that's how you can break Project Spark, and that's how easy it is to change variables with the programming in Project Spark. The language is it's complicated, as is all programming languages. Here's the machine gun. Here's our super accurate machine gun now. Still shoots fast, still piss weak damage, but it's super accurate. There we go. That's the rate of fire I'm looking for. Let's snipe him with my super fast shooting machine gun. Too funny. So even a dumbass like me can change qualities of a game and how it works and whatnot, and all the important values to make things different and whatnot. It's super cool. And those of you with an Xbox One, I recommend downloading this. Maybe sink a little time into it, to creating your own crap, or just dick around. There's also a lot of stuff that the community has uploaded. A lot of them are unpolished. A lot of them are just slap a guy down on a terrain, slap a bunch of bad guys down on a terrain. You know, essentially just like this thing that I'm showing you guys right now, except way less polished. This thing actually took me about 8 hours to do because I was busy dicking around with the grenade programming. For sure, that took up a lot of time. Placing enemies, just determining certain damage values, accuracy values, so on and so forth. I wanted an actual visible difference between all the guns so that I could more easily showcase the possibilities that could be done with creating a vast array of weapons in a first-person shooter with Project Spark. I don't know if anybody here has ever played a Turok game, but that's a game where you would have like 20 guns with different values. Anyways, that's what I've been busy with. There will be some World of Tanks content coming soon. Try downloading this if you guys have an Xbox One. So, thanks for watching. Mobius Y signing off.